the money for Donald Trump only flows one way, and that's towards Trump and his family. It never flows back to his supporters. And he never bails them out when they're in hot water. Even his most ardent supporters have caught on to this. It's a wonderful day in the homiehood, a wonderful day for a homie. Won't you be my homie to Taro? History is being made, and a former president is actually being held accountable for crimes that they have committed. And this is remarkable in a way because in the past, presidents have been able to get away with whatever they want, really. Like, the law has not applied to them. And not just for presidents, but also rich people in general. The American law does not equally punish people who are billionaires, or I don't even know if Trump is a billionaire at this point. He's probably lost about a lot of money, but he makes a lot of money from his grifting, so sure, why not? Trump is a billionaire because billionaire is a slur, and we don't like Donald Trump on this channel, obviously, but we are really excited to see that he has been arrested under the law, the law of New York State. So some people are saying that this is going to open the floodgates because, as you may well remember, Donald Trump has done a lot of bad things in his time in power, including inciting the January 6th riots he on Capitol Hill, where he tried to stop Joe Biden from being marched in as the new president. He was also calling for the murder of Mike Pence, which you think should be illegal as well. However, Mike Pence is still on the Donald Trump dick, and it's really kind of interesting to see some of the conservative reactions to this. Obviously, he was also an election denialist, and he tried to overturn the 2020 election, and he was squirreling away secret government documents in his Mar-a-Lago home. So people are hoping that he gets caught for not only this charge of election spending, like misappropriating election funds to pay off Stormy Daniels, who was a porn star, I guess. Not someone that was on most people's radar until we found out that she was paid to have sex with Donald Trump. But this is obviously something that Trump is guilty for. It's really hard to think about how he might not be guilty because his lawyer, Michael Cohen, has already gone to jail for essentially acting at the behest of Donald Trump, and Michael Cohen basically had to take the damage in order for Donald Trump to remain a free person. So it's really exciting. And we don't really have news yet on Donald Trump being thrown into jail or anything like that. And a lot of people, they're not sure what's going to happen, but there are some kind of main arguments that people are making. Conservatives are saying that this is a political arrest and that, nobody should be arrested for campaign misappropriation of funds. The thing is, when the argument against you is that you've misappropriated campaign funds for your political campaign, of course it's going to be a political arrest. For a crime like this, there's literally no way that it would not be a political arrest because it's a crime that only somebody involved in politics could commit. So of course it's a political arrest, and when you hear people saying this, it's absolutely like ridiculous. It's like, yes, it's a political arrest. And you know what else? I would go as far to say that every arrest is a political arrest. All of law even is political because there's always a vested interest in upholding the law in so much as it pertains to politics. Just yesterday, we were covering how Danielle Smith, the premier of Alberta, was interfering with the law in order to get a known white supremacist domestic terrorist off the hook. and she was unsuccessful. She thought that she had powers like President Donald Trump, but little did she know, she lives in Canada, and even less did she know that Donald Trump now is making history, and he is the first president to actually be accountable for the crimes that they've done. So that's what other people are saying, is that, hey, the president is above the law. And apparently Richard Nixon is famous for having this quote about how, when the president does it, that means that is not illegal. And, that's kind of like obviously a silly notion as well. So, of course, like famous Richard Nixon, who is not a crook, said that when the president does it, it does not mean it. That means that it is not illegal. So I guess this is why this is a historic moment, is because that notion might be changing. Now, I also just want to think about what would be happening right now if the tables were turned, and if something like this was happening to, let's say, Joe Biden, or because they would probably never get anything on Joe Biden because they're a career politician and they've probably kept, made a concerted effort to keep it clean, at least in the time that they've been involved with politics. Let's say they had similar evidence on Hunter Biden, who has been this kind of figure for the conservative movement, because they have nothing on Joe. So they have to try to get at big dick Hunter Biden, who is famous for, doing drugs and having sex with prostitutes, which is apparently highly immoral. Whereas Donald Trump, who's paying off a porn star in this case, there's nothing wrong with that. And what that is, it's really funny to see, actually, because conservatives, and especially like fundamentalist Christian conservatives, who are still in Donald Trump's voting base, they will somehow do the mental gymnastics to say that, wow, I can't believe big dick Hunter Biden was having sex with all of those prostitutes or whatever. We don't even know if it was like paid sex or maybe it was consensual. But there's something really immoral and shameful about that. But Donald Trump doing the exact same thing and having extramarital affairs on top and doing it with a porn star, somehow that is not really an immoral act. And conservatives, Christians, they can do this mental gymnastics in order to justify standing Donald Trump. And it really just goes to show that, hey, yeah, maybe this is about politics. Maybe you don't really have a moral code that you're applying universally. So it's honestly fantastic to see people losing their minds and engaging with this type of hypocrisy. There is also a portion of the left, or I guess you could say the liberals, which is obviously different than the left, yada, 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 who are saying that this will rally Trump's base. This is not a good move because this will rally Trump's base and move them to do something similar to January 6th, or potentially just rally them to donate money to Trump's campaign, to make Trump out to be the deep state victim. And it's really strange. Trump is getting arrested. Yes, he is. At least there is an indictment out for his arrest. He probably won't spend any time in prison being a former president. What are they going to do? Also, like, keep him in a prison cell and like have the Secret Service outside of the prison cell for how long? And, so we're probably not going to see him behind bars, but there will be consequences for his actions, which is fantastic to see. Angel Riot is linking something here. Does it have to do with what we're talking about?
Like, it was just like, no big deal. Like, sucking dick and cock. Like, I'm just like, oh my God. Time and place. And you did it at my birthday dinner.
What, is this true that there was dick sucking going on at Donald Trump's birthday dinner? It's possible. And it is shocking that a man of the moral integrity of Donald Trump would engage in such disgusting behavior. That's right, time and place. And the thing that while his wife was pregnant, is that true? This, you see, I haven't actually dug into any of this information because like I'm not really interested in the drama of it all. But it is really great to point out that the Christian candidate, the person who rallies the far right Christian base in the United States, and by extension, unfortunately, all of North America, is Donald Trump. But somehow they're willing to look the other way for this. You might be confusing it with someone else. Honestly, it doesn't matter because what they are charging him on is misappropriation of election funds. And that is because his lawyer, Michael Cohen, paid off Stormy Daniels, and by extension, Trump it reimbursed Michael Cohen for paying off Stormy Daniels. So there's just this like movement of money that is a misappropriation of election funds. So that's what they'll never talk about. They never mention that fact. But yes, it is illegal to do that. So people are worried that Trump's base will do another January 6th, to which I say, let them. Let them do another January 6th because they all looked like idiots. And if the original announcement where he was trying to get people to rally in New York is an indication, we're not going to see another January 6th because Trump's base has actually stopped falling for this grift where they're like, hey, we're going to get really mad and we're going to do illegal things at the behest of Donald Trump. But don't worry, Donald Trump is going to come and bail us out. They've actually stopped believing Donald Trump that he's going to help them in any substantial way. The money for Donald Trump only flows one way, and that's towards Trump and his family. It never flows back to his supporters, and he never bails them out when they're in hot water. So it's I think even his most ardent supporters have caught on to this. The last takeaway from this too is that it might actually, I guess I already mentioned this, but it might open those floodgates. There was a lot of different jurisdictions who were kind of like circling around Donald Trump, but none of them really wanted to take the risk of pressing charges against him. But now that this kind of precedent has been set, and New York has decided to go ahead with this indictment, we might see other levels of government, and we're hoping at the federal level, press some charges against him. The conservative reactions have been interesting. Ron Desantis is kind of particularly of note here, saying some silly things, as Ron DeSantis is probably known to do. So this is Mary L. Trump, who I believe is like, I don't know, something about obviously related to the Trump family. I forget if she's like niece or something of Donald Trump, but she's quote tweeting Ron here saying the weaponization of the legal system to advance a political agenda turns the rule of law on its head. So again, as I've already said, the legal system is already weaponized for political agendas. The whole legal system itself, you could say, is a political agenda to uphold law and order, because that makes for a stronger society. In the past, law and order has not applied equally for everyone. So the only real shocking thing here is that somebody who held a lot of power and has a lot of money is actually being accountable. That's the only real takeaway from this. It's un-American. And in this sense, he's correct. It is un-American to hold powerful, rich people accountable. And it appears that we are in a new era of American distribution of, I don't know, consequences. The Soros-backed Manhattan District Attorney has consistently bent the law to downgrade felonies and to excuse criminal misconduct. So this is obviously, like, I don't even know why Ron DeSantis had to throw this in, or should I say Ron DeSantimonious. I don't know why he had to put the Soros-backed Manhattan District Attorney thing in, except for the fact that he is here using Nazi rhetoric. If whenever you hear someone say Soros backed, they are essentially saying that George Soros, who is Jewish, is behind all of these actions that happen in America, whether it's like Black Lives Matter or in this case, the Manhattan District Attorney. When people say Soros, they are using Nazi rhetoric by saying that the one, famous left-leaning billionaire, and I mean, let's face it, no billionaires are left-leaning, but George Soros is like a bit of a liberal, sure, is responsible for people facing the consequences of their own actions. That is Nazi conspiracy. Let's be real. So Ron DeSantis obviously virtue signaling to Donald Trump's base by doing this. Florida will not assist in extradition requests given the questionable circumstances at issue with the Soros. Okay, again? Jesus. Do you really need to do... You've got Twitter Blue or whatever, right? So you get a longer tweet and you're using that longer tweet to say the same thing again. Soros-backed Manhattan prosecutor and his political agenda. This is why Twitter is better when you only have 280 characters. Is because people are not very good at speaking concisely. Ron DeSantis actually is supposed to be good at that, but in this case, he's got 2 paragraphs that are essentially saying the same thing, and it's like you could have actually kept this to the size of a normal tweet. So Ronald Trump Jr. is here also making a statement saying that this is like communist behavior. Kind of interesting.
I was proven even more right than I would have ever imagined because
it is true. He is more right than any of us could have ever imagined. More right-leaning, more Nazi-leaning even.
Apparently,
And can we just say that look at this tan? Look at this goddamn man tan.
Soros-backed Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg.
Okay, again. Do we how? How is this Soros backed? You need to actually show the receipts. But again, they are just virtue signaling to their Nazi conspiratorial base.
Is actually indicting my father. So let's be clear, folks.
Okay, this is a big Dofo moment.
This is like communist level shit. This is stuff that would make Mao, Stalin, Pol Pot. It would.
I love how he's like struggling. Trigger warning: he goes on a transphobic rant. Oh shit! Oh really? This is only a 1-minute clip, but goddamn, I guess he's got time still. Anyways, this is just so funny because, of course, anytime something bad happens from the Biden administration, who Biden is like a neoconservative at best. Like, he is very far right-leaning. All of American politics is right-leaning. So the fact that when like anything bad happens to the far extremist right, they call this communism is just ridiculous.
Folks, this is like communist level shit.
I guess in one way, because Donald Trump is a landlord and he owns all those hotels, him being arrested is communist level shit. And that's super based. Pol Pot didn't use criminal justice to silence his political opponents. True. And let's be real, like Mao, Stalin, Pol Pot, they're all very controversial figures. They're not like heroes of the broader socialist movement in North America. They all have done kind of like horrible things, right? And they get used in this way to pretend as though socialism and communism is like an authoritarian thing. But again, that's not the type of socialism we stand here on this channel.
This is stuff that would make Mao, Stalin.
He's like, can't they just get this man a teleprompter? Like, he's struggling to recall these names.
Pol Pot. it would make them blush. It's so flagrant. It's so crazed. When even like the
Can we get some live footage of Mao blushing? Do we have any pictures of Chairman Mao blushing? Because I'm not sure if this is true or not. All right, here we go. Here we go. Chairman Mao blushing. Live footage, everyone. Chairman Mao blushing at the thought of Donald Trump being indicted. If you think this would make Stalin blush, I think you need to read some anecdotes about what he did with ice picks. I have no idea what you're talking about, Angel Riot, but sure.
radical leftists of the Washington Post.
The billionaire-owned Washington Post. Yes. The radical leftists of the billionaire-owned Washington Post. Oh, here we go. Another communist blusher right here. Why are they always get turned into cat girls? Or I guess these are cat boys. Cats can be boys now too.
Are out there saying, it's not really based on facts, it's not really based on the law, it's not really based in reality, but it's 100% based on politics. When your enemies are saying that, it's got to tell you everything you need to know right now about where we are as.
So this is the other thing too. Like he is like straw manning here. And I'm saying right now, this is based on politics. Obviously, the only way you can commit this crime of misappropriating election funds is if you are involved in politics.
As a country, I was proven.
Okay, so luckily we didn't get to see him go on a transphobic rant here. But it is going to be a wonderful era for those who believe in justice, because we have a unique time here to see conservatives, specifically far-right Republicans in the United States, melt down. And we might even get to see Donald Trump wearing a pair of handcuffs. Is this true? Is this true? Is this Marx and Engels smooching it up? Sadly, yes. Sadly, we're not going to see Donald Trump in handcuffs in the kinky way. According to Stormy Daniels, that costs extra. Why not make sure you don't miss the next video by liking, commenting, subscribing, and ringing the bell? Thank you so much for watching. It's my homie, too, Taro. Peace.